Breakfast with Elli.
מודה אני לפניך מלך חי וקיים שהחזרת בי נשמתי בחמלה רבה אמונתך
Mein Seder gewesen ein größer Rebbe für den Chassidim. Ja, es geht ein Pscheile Christierer. Er gewesen von Christier von Ungarn. Aber ich habe ihn schon nicht gekannt, weil ich bin alt gewesen 2 Chadoshim.
קבל להזמין את החזן אסף שלי. אל מלא רחמים שוכן במרומים המצא מלוכה נכונה על כנפי השכינה במעלות קדושים טהורים וגיבורים כזוהר הרקיע מאירים ומזהירים לנשמות חיילי מערכות ישראל שנפלו במלחמות ישראל בפעולות הגנה תגמול וביטחון בעת מילוי תפקידם ובעת שירותם ושחרפו נפשם למות על קדושת השם ובעזרת אלוהי מערכות ישראל הביאו לתקומת האומה במדינה ולגאולת הארץ ועיר האלוהים ולכל מי שנרצחו בארץ ומחוצה לה בידי המרצחים מארגוני הטרור בעבור שאנו מתפללים לעילוי נשמותיהם בגן עדן תהא מנוחתם לכן בעל החמים יסתירם בסתר כנפיו לעולמים ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמותיהם אדוני הוא נחלתם וינוחו בשלום על משכבותם ויעמדו לגורלם לקץ הימים ונאמר אמן.
Die Reibestier sucht Ani Hashem Revi'i Revi'i Elai Amo Yisrael Die Reibestier sucht Ani Hashem
Good morning and welcome to Breakfast with Elli. It is Wednesday, the 4th day of May. May the 4th be with you. I know, right? It is the 3rd day of Iyar. The Torah portion is Acharei HaYom Yom Revi'i, the 4th day counting up toward Shabbos. Be learning the 4th Aliyah. Today is Yom HaZikaron, where we remember the soldiers who lost their lives defending the state of Israel and the victims of terror. May their memories be for an eternal blessing. I know. Heavy-duty stuff. That was, of course, the Kel Mole Rachamim that we say on behalf of the departed. And today is a very solemn day in Israel and everywhere. You know, we all feel it. We all definitely feel it. Okay. Oh my goodness, there's so much to do today. So much to tell you today. We're going to be counting the Omer. We got a lot of stuff going on. So let's start with the first bracha of Al Divrei Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al divrei Torah.
Great job. I heard you from here. I heard you. All right. And now we move to our second bracha of the day. Hareini Mikabel. Are you ready?
Hareini mikabel alay mitzvat aseh shel ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. I take upon myself every single day to love my fellow friend in a very special way.
All right, and now Torah Tziva Lanu.
Torah tziva lanu Moshe morasha keilat Yaakov. Torah tziva lanu Moshe morasha keilat Yaakov.
All right, fantastic. And now time to give tzedakah.
I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki for someone else to keep. Yeah, I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki for someone else in need.
All right, we've given tzedakah. That's great. All right. Fantastic. All right, now say the Shema with me. Cover your eyes.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Great job. Great job, everybody. All right. Let's make a bracha shahakol. All right, we got our yogurt, we got our coffee, and we are hot to trot over here. Are you ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shahakol nihiyah b'dvarei. Very nice. Okay. All right. Are you ready? Here's Laser Brook with day 18 of the Omer.
49 days to count the Omer.
All right.
After it's dark, Mark, at the end of my read, Steve, do it in shul, shmuel, just count with me. Look for the stars, Tamar, just be sure to make the bracha. Erev is the key, Tzvi, count sphere with me.
Oh, that you ask me? Well, yes. Thank you for finally asking and noticing. Rabbi Avi Feldman, Chabad of Iceland, represent. I know, right? No, I'm not cold. I'm representing. Don't you understand? All right, today is 18 days, which is 2 weeks and 4 days of the Omer. Netzach of Tiferes. Netzach is victory, endurance, and compassion. Is my compassion enduring and consistent? Is it reliable or whimsical? Does it prevail among other forces in my life? Do I have the capacity to be compassionate even when I'm busy with other activities or only when it's comfortable for me? Am I ready to stand up and fight for another? So, the exercise for the day is in the middle of your busy day, take a moment to call someone who needs a compassionate word, and we all know someone like that. Defend someone who's in need of sympathy, even if it's not a popular position. Right? I know. And Rabbi Sachs for today. Day 18. On Yom HaZikaron, we remember the members of the Israeli Defense Forces who fell in action, and also all those who were killed by terrorist attacks in Israel. What our enemies killed, we keep alive in the only way we can. In our minds, our memories, our hearts, and in our land, the state of Israel. That's heavy-duty stuff. Thank you, Rabbi Sachs. All right? Today in Jewish history. Oh, and there's so much to talk about today. Just like we said, it is Yom HaZikaron. And of course, it's, May the 4th. Today was the Ancona boycott. In the year 1556, following the Portuguese expulsion in 1496, many Jews who chose to remain in Portugal became known as Marranos. They openly identified themselves as Christians while secretly maintaining their Jewish beliefs and traditions. Many of these secret Jews eventually migrated to other countries where they once again openly professed their allegiance to Judaism. However, because they had been baptized, their situation was perilous. On the 3rd of Iyar in 1556, on the orders of Pope Paul IV, 25 of these hidden Jews were burned at the stake in Ancona, Italy. Gracia Mendes Nassi was a very influential and wealthy woman, herself a Portuguese crypto-Jew who relocated to the Ottoman Empire. In her past, she too had personally experienced persecution because of her status. Upon hearing of the burning of her co-religionists, she organized a financial boycott against the port of Ancona, and she called on all Jews worldwide to do trade from the neighboring harbors and thus financially ruin Ancona. Her trade embargo was successful for many months and is considered to be one of the first times the Jewish people struck back against the Inquisition. And there's lots more at Chabad.org. There's all kinds of beautiful stories about Dona Gracia. And it's very interesting. You should go look it up. Today was, you know what? I'm going to save that for the end. Today is the yahrzeit of Rabbi Chaim Chodakov, born in the Russian town of Beshenkovich on January 12, 1902, the 4th day of Shvat. Chaim Mordechai Isaac Chodakov moved to Riga, Latvia with his parents in 1904. A born educator and pedagogue, at the young age At a young age, Chaim Mordechai was appointed head of the Jewish education of the Latvian Ministry of Education. When the sixth Lubavitcher Rebbe moved to Riga from Russia, Rabbi Chodakov became drawn to the Rebbe and became part of his workforce. Oh, yeah. All right. In 1940, he accompanied the Rebbe to the United States. The Rebbe appointed Rabbi Chodakov as the director of Merkos Linyonei Chinuch, the educational arm of the Lubavitcher movement, Machna Yisrael, the social service arm, and the Kahot Publication Society, all of which were under the chairmanship of the Rebbe Menachem Mendel Schneerson of righteous memory. In 1950, when the Rebbe ascended to the helm of Lubavitch, Rabbi Chodakov became his chief of staff and head of the secretariat. He was later appointed the chairman of the umbrella organization that oversees the worldwide network of Chabad Lubavitch organizations and institutions. I had many interactions with Rabbi Chodakov over the years. He was a vigorous and resolute activist who innovated many educational ideas and programs and was a role model for many young Hasidim in his demeanor and devotion to the Rebbe. He was always by the Rebbe's side for all the years of his life. All right. Today is also the yahrzeit of Reb Shayla Kerestir. Now, I told you yesterday that I had a very, very big connection. This is the resting place of the Kerestir Rebbe. I have a personal connection to them from living in Florida. One of the grandchildren of the Kerestir Rebbe became the Kerestir Rebbe when his father passed away. His father had moved to Florida for health, and the Gross family and Rabbi Gross had come to take care of him, and eventually they opened a shul there. Many stories of the controversy and fights with Miami Beach on keeping that shul alive. Absolutely crazy stuff. But Reb Shayla Kerestir, the founder of the Hasidic dynasty, was known for feeding the poor and in Israel. One of the most famous Hasidic Rebbe's of the Hungarian dynasties, Rabbi Yeshaya Steiner of Kerestir. He lived from 1851 to 1925. He was a student of Rabbi Chaim Halberstam of Sanz and Rabbi Mordechai of Nadvona. His picture is believed by many Jews to be an amulet of protection. Many storekeepers in Israel have his photo in their stores to keep away mice. I know. And there's lots of stories. Here's one story with him. I'm sure, well, you know what? Yeah, here's a story with the Kerestir Rebbe.
Mein Seide gewesen ein größer Rebbe für den Chassidim. Ja, es geht Reb Shayla Kerestierer. Gewesen von Kerestier von Ungarn. Aber ich habe ihn schon nicht gekannt, weil ich bin alt gewesen 2 Chadoshim, hat noch gehalten auf der Hand. Hat mir eingetinkt ein Stück Leikach in einem Wein, noch ein Davanen, und gegeben mir das zu Sputzken, und hat gesagt, ich habe ein süßes Piskala. Hab ich gehabt, Zores von dem süßen Piskala. Jeder gekommen zu mir, hat gewusst, legen die Hand auf den Kopf und geben mir Broche. Dann hat gesagt, ich habe ein süßes Piskala. Was, ich habe auch gelitten von dem. In der Seite noch ein paar Chadoshim gestorben, gekommen Chassidim zu mir überhaupt in der Seres Meitshuva. If you know what it is, if you weißt, what das ist, der 10 Tag zwischen der Shishon und Yom Kippur, pflegen kommen jeden mit kranken Kindern, mit kranken Frauen, und man fragt, man ruft die Hand auf den Kopf von einem Kind oder von der Frau, oder von dem alten Menschen. Und was per Geisen sagen, gehört kann ich wissen, was ich rede. Aber mein Vater fragt mir sagen, sag sie noch, was sie sagen. Und ich habe gesagt, aber ich habe gelitten dafür. Sie haben nicht gewusst, dass gemeint soll sein, ein guter Singer, ein guter Chasen. Das ist gewesen, das süße Piskerl.
All right. In the pictures of Reb Shaila, you can always see that his head is facing down. The story goes that Rabbi HaYom of Sanz once placed his hands on Rabbi Shaila's head to give him a bracha, a blessing. And from that point on, he never raised his head. He was known as a Baal Meifus, a miracle worker, and a great Baal Chesed, doer of kindness. Thousands came to his funeral. At one point during the eulogies, the mailman from the town, who was not Jewish, spoke up in the middle and said, "You have no idea who this man was. I personally handled his mail, and I know that he himself supported hundreds of poor families throughout Hungary." Today, his dynasty is considered by some of his is continued by some of his descendants, the Karastira Rebbes of Brooklyn and Florida. Now, after a 2-year hiatus due to coronavirus, in which there were hardly any flights to Hungary, to the city of Karastir, where Reb Shaila is born, tens of thousands are expected to arrive at his tomb to mark the yahrzeit, which is today. Let me see if I have another piece about. Here we go. This is in the town of Karastir. All right, there is more to that if you'd like to.
Zoinai Revi'i Vor ein paar Jahren zurück ist der Goy Christian von dem Scheiles Jassos gekommen zu Moshe Yosef Friedlander und gesagt, als morgen kann ich nicht reinkommen zu der Arbeit. Vor ein paar Jahren zurück ist der Goy Christian von dem Scheiles Jassos gekommen zu Moshe Yosef Friedlander und gesagt, als morgen kann ich nicht reinkommen zu der Arbeit.
Der Goy arbeitet schon für uns eine längere Zeit. Er hat ausgelernt Jiddisch. Sei getreif an den Platz. Wenn sie kommt an den Christi, kann sehen, ist ein Part von Christi. Ein Sonntag kommt rein und sagt mir, Moshe, morgen und übermorgen kann ich nicht reinkommen zu der Arbeit.
Geht mal fragt, für was kannst du schon reinkommen morgen? Sagt haben wir getroffen der Machle bei meinem Weib, wir müssen schon apparieren morgen.
Mein Weib, sie gewesen am Freitag in der Hospital bei einem Check. Und der Doktor hat sie gesagt, sie hat Tumor. Der Doktor hat sie gesagt, sie soll zurückkommen am Montag und darf machen eine Operation.
Frag im Christian, was geist denn nicht auf zum Ziehen? Du wirst ein Goymeger aufgehen zum Ziehen, sag, was heißt ein Goymeger aufgehen zum Ziehen? Wir haben Scheile gelebt, sind tausender Goyim, auch gewesen bei ihm. Und hat sie geholfen, und sie haben gehabt die Schiers.
Der Scheile geholfen, auch jeder Mensch, Goyim, auch die Jiden, auch die Goyim. Für jeden Menschen hat er geholfen. Bin rauf zum Ziehen, zum Rebscheile. Bin gedauert und gebeten, gesinnt für mein Weib. Geschriebene Quittel, ein gezündete Licht.
Der nächste Tag, sie fuhren heran zum Spital und zu der Operation. Vor dem macht der Doktor einen Test und kommt zurück zu Christian. Er geht ihm so. Ich weiß nicht, was du hast getan, aber der Machle hat geschrinkt. Es ist noch geworden kleiner. Man darf nicht operieren.
Der Goy ist raus von des Palace. Es gewinnt, Mama schon 7. Himmel. Er hat nicht gewiss, was er mit sich.
Du kannst nicht glauben, was ich sehe. Es ist du, aber das ist schon kleiner geworden. Nach ein paar Duschen ist es von allein gegangen. Baruch Hashem ist sie gesund geworden. Und jetzt 9 Duschen zurück, geboren unser erstes Baby. Nach der Masse. Ich habe gegeben den Namen Nussen, ist ein Engel. Das heißt Englisch Nathan. Das ist ein Gift von Gott. Baruch Hashem beide gesund. Alles ist gut. Der Schei bei der Moshe.
Der Goy redt von der Masse, von der Pscheile, und er erzählt das noch einmal und noch einmal. Und hat so viel geredet. Alle Goyim, was arbeiten mit uns, in seinen Geweihren, von der Rim in der Rim, von der Städtlich, alle im Umgang zu kommen zu der Pscheile zum Ziehen. Verruhi kalama uretz, gesheim Hashem niklo olechu. Die alle Goyim, was werden geholfen, das ist Kiddush Hashem. Und man sieht, dass du ein Beschäfer auf der Welt. Und man wird geholfen, das Chis HaTzadik.
Yo, Reb Shai Reb Moshe, Reb Shai Reb Moshe, Poil für Klal Yisroel, Bubunai Chayai, Zoynai Revi'i, Reb Shai Reb Moshe, Reb Shai Reb Moshe, Poil für Klal Yisroel. Bubunai, Chayai, Zoynai, Revi'i.
I'll have a little bit more about Reb Shaila tomorrow. I've got another couple of stories to tell you. Yom HaZikaron, here's something to watch about that.
The state of Israel was not handed to us on a silver platter. It was established through the loss of much blood. the blood of soldiers who gave their lives so that the Jewish nation would have a small place on the face of the earth to call home. The state of Israel does not forget those to whom it owes its being. On Yom HaZikaron, the country gives honor to all soldiers who have fallen in its wars and stands to salute their memory. This day.
All right. And one more piece about Yom HaZikaron that I think you will appreciate.
שלום. רוצה לספר לכם איזשהו סיפור לקראת יום הזיכרון. סיפור אותי רומם מאוד, אני בטוח שכל אחד מאיתנו. הסיפור הוא על האדמו"ר מחב"ד, שמספרים עליו שהגיע אליו משלחת של ארגון נכי צה"ל. כל אחד, זה עם הקביים, זה עם הכיסא, זה עם הרתיעה, כל אחד במקומו. יש כאלה שהפצעים שלהם ניכרים, יש כאלה שאינם ניכרים. ובאים והוא שואל אותם, מי אתם? אז הם אומרים לו, אנחנו ארגון נכי צה"ל. מי אתם? אנחנו נכי צה"ל. אמר, אני לא מכיר דבר כזה. מה זה נכה? אתם נכים? אתם גיבורי ישראל. אתם אנשים שמסרו את נפשם למען עם ישראל. נכים? מה פתאום נכים? אתם אנשים קדושים. אתם אנשים אהובים. אתם אנשים מבורכים. אתם גיבורי ישראל. גיבורי צה"ל. מה פתאום נכי צה"ל? סיפר מי שהיה שם באותה ישיבה, הוא אומר, הוא הפך לי את הראש. הסתכלתי אחרת על עצמי, והוא באמת צודק. הוא באמת צודק. כך צריך להסתכל על האנשים האלה, על האנשים שנפצעו, על האנשים שמסרו את נפשם. מה זה? איזה קדושים, קדושי עליון. יש לך יותר ואהבת לרעך כמוך מאשר אדם שמסר את כל חייו, הקריב את עצמו על המזבח, למען האחים שלו, למען עם ישראל, למען גאולת ישראל. יש דבר כזה? יש דבר יותר עליון כזה? יש איזה קורבן יותר עליון מהדבר הזה? אין בעולם. אין. זה לא חיילי צה"ל. זה לא חיילי צה"ל. זה קדושי עליון. כן. יום הזיכרון לקדושי עליון. להסתכל על הדברים בעיניים הנכונות. בעיניים של הצדיקים הגדולים, צדיקים הקדושים, עם העיניים הטהורות. כן, ולוואי נזכה.
Moment of Wisdom, some brief and life-changing moments. Join us. Subscribe to Moment of Wisdom channels on YouTube, Telegram, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp.
All right, HaYom Yom for today, the third day. Oops, sorry, wrong thing. But Tefillin Stop is good too. Go to Tefillin Stop. HaYom Yom for today, the third day. HaYom Yom for today, the third day of Iyar.
Who is a wise man, asks the Mishnah. One who learns from every person. Really? Every person? The great Hasidic masters took this quite literally. Today's HaYom Yom puts you into a classroom, and your teacher is a criminal. The tzaddik, Reb Zushya of Anipoli, learned a number of important lessons. Said we can learn a number of important lessons from a thief. As I go through the list of virtuous traits of the thief, I want you to think about how incorporating these traits in your life would make you a more accomplished person and a better Jew. Firstly, number one, a thief works very quietly because for the thief, the priority is to get the job done. And the less people that know about the thief's accomplishments, the better off he is. Number two, the thief is so committed and dedicated to getting the job done, he is ready to put himself into danger in order to get it done. That's the level of commitment that the thief has. Number 3, the thief recognizes that in order for his mission to be successful, even the smallest detail is of tremendous importance. He cannot afford for even one part of his mission to go wrong. Every single detail has to be executed to perfection. Number 4, a thief knows that you cannot be a successful thief by just relaxing. He labors with tremendous effort and toil. Number 5, a thief knows that if he's going to be successful, he's got to be on the move. He's got to do the job quickly. No time to postpone things. Number 6, the thief is always confident and optimistic that things will work out. And finally, if the thief does not succeed at his mission the first time around, you can be sure that he will be back to try again and again until he succeeds.
All right. And now breaking news. All right. Headlines. You can't get away from headlines. In spite of the prevailing opinion in Orthodoxy that abortion is only permitted in the case of immediate risk to the mother, Agudas Yisrael of America has weighed in against abortion bans. Blanket bans on abortion, to be sure, would deprive Jewish women of the ability to act responsibly in cases where abortion is halachically required, according to Rabbi Avi Shafron. And so, what Orthodox groups like Agudas Yisrael of America, for which he works, have long promoted is the regulation of abortion through laws that generally prohibit the unjustifiable killing of fetuses while protecting the right to abortion in exceptional cases. Some in the Orthodox community go further. Judaism allows and requires abortion in many circumstances, according to Blimi Marcus, an Orthodox nurse practitioner and professor. The mother's well-being takes priority over a fetus, according to Jewish law. An overturned Roe will result in Jewish women everywhere being unable to practice their religion. So it's not such a black and white issue. My friend, the rabbi from Tennessee, wrote, if anybody is tweeting the Jewish opinion, is stating the Jewish opinion on abortion in a tweet, you know they don't know what they're talking about. U.S. health officials on Tuesday restated their recommendations that Americans wear masks on planes, trains, and buses, despite a court ruling last month that struck down the national mask mandate on public transportation. Americans aged 2 and older should wear a well-fitting mask while on public transportation, including airports and train stations, according to the CDC. The United States might need to update its vaccines every year, according to a trio of top FDA officials, and a new normal may include an annual COVID-19 vaccine along with your seasonal flu shot. COVID will likely circulate globally for the foreseeable future, taking its place among other common respiratory viruses such as the flu, according to the FDA. In a new paper published in the medical journal JAMA on Monday. This comes as many states are scaling back on how often they report key COVID-19 statistics, a shift that some experts worry might hinder efforts to mitigate outbreaks and negative effects of the coronavirus. And I've mentioned many, many times that you can see that we are hearing less and less and less about the virus as time goes on. And I'm not sure why that is, because it's still out there. 2 of my friends reported yesterday that they just tested positive for the virus, and another slew of Broadway actors just tested positive for the virus. Big shocker there. All right. And it's not fun. It's not fun, they're telling me. I thank God I'm staying away from all that, and hopefully I will be able to plan or mitigate my way through this without getting sick. I'm hoping and hoping and hoping. All right, now a word from our sponsors.
Now, a word from our sponsors. PestProRidall.com.
PestProRidall.com, trusted by the best to keep away the pests. We are offering COVID-19 disinfection services. Mention this ad and get 1 month free service. Visit us at PestProRidall.com.
Tarzane Group, micro, miniature, and small orchids. Go to tarzanegroup.com or call Tomas at 305-440-0565. That's 305-440-0565 and order today. Visit Tomas and Yair at tarzanegroup.com. Micro, miniature, and small orchids, beautiful in your home. Go to the website and read Tomas's orchid blog. And by Dina D Design. DinaDDesign@gmail.com. Fine artwork, custom made to your specifications, logos, wall hangings, Judaica, and you can even have something for your child's room. Dina D Designs. Go to her Facebook or Instagram or call or text. Thank you very much to our sponsors. If you'd like to become a sponsor, please go right up here to where it says patreon.com/theactorsrabbi, and you can contribute even only $1 a month if you'd like, but that'll help us bring this broadcast to you on a daily basis and cover our expenses. Be sure to thank your sponsors when shopping and mention Breakfast with Elli when you're shopping there. There might be discounts. Thanks for watching.
Torah, 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 Siva Lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Siva Lanu Moshe.
All right, as the esteemed gentleman said, patreon.com/theactorsrabbi or breakfastwithelli.live/tipjar if you'd like to contribute today. All right. In most years, Parshas Acharei and Kedoshim are read on the same Shabbos, which means that they share a common denominator. Inasmuch as the subject of the beginning of Parshas Acharei is the observance of Yom Kippur in the temple, the holiest place, the Holy of Holies in the temple, the holiest person, the Kohen Gadol, and the holiest time, Yom Kippur, all come together. And inasmuch as the name of Parshas Kedoshim means holy, it's clear that the common denominator of these two Parshas is the concept of holiness. Nonetheless, in some years, Parshas Acharei and Kedoshim are read separately, indicating that they are significantly different from each other, different enough to warrant being focused on at different times. And in fact, if we look closely, we can discern that their messages indeed seem to be diametrically opposed. In Parshas Acharei, as we've noted, we underscore the fact that the essential concern of religious life should be engaging the world and sanctifying it rather than trying to avoid or escape it. The very word Kedoshim, in contrast, implies, as we have noted, separateness from the material world and its inherent limitations. It would seem that this awareness should foster a more ascetic, abstinent attitude toward life, the very opposite of embracing and engaging in the material world, even in order to sanctify it. Indeed, there are those among us whose lives mainly reflect one or the other of these opposite approaches to life. There are also periods in all of our lives when we emphasize one or the other of them. For example, those of us who have overcome human or animal drives and are therefore motivated by the innate drives of our divine souls, we can confidently engage the material world without fear of being lured by its various enticements. In contrast, those of us who are still struggling with their human and animal drives will be much more circumspect in our dealings with the material world, tending rather to avoid its temptations whenever possible. Nonetheless, those of us in the latter category do experience a measure of freedom from these drives when we immerse ourselves in prayer or the study of Torah, temporarily shedding our self-awareness and identifying wholly with our inner divine dimension. On the other hand, the fact that in most years these two parshas are read together implies that we're meant to unify these two opposites. We've seen how the ability to encompass both sides of a paradox is the earmark of Judaism. The unification of Acharei and Kedoshim, of separation from this world and involvement with it, is another example of these paradoxes. When we identify with our divine soul completely, either on an ongoing basis, as is possible for those who have overcome their human and animal drives, or temporarily, as it's possible for those who are struggling with these drives, we manifest Hashem's ability to live both sides of a paradox. In this case, being in the world and outside the world, or self-aware and non-self-aware simultaneously. In other words, the involvement with the world associated with Parshas Acharei necessitates sustaining self-awareness, inasmuch as the ongoing task of self-refinement and refining the world requires us to measure our progress as we grow spiritually and elevate the world we live in. In contrast, the disassociation from the world associated with Parshas Kedoshim is predicated upon abnegating self-awareness, identifying totally with Hashem and His desires for us. Living the paradox of Acharei Kedoshim means devoting ourselves to the task of self-refinement, of pure devotion to Hashem and His agenda, rather than as means towards self-fulfillment or betterment per se. This paradox is evident in the standard blessing we recite before performing many mitzvahs. Blessed are you, Hashem, our God, Asher Kiddishanu, who has sanctified us with His commandments and commanded us to do the mitzvah. First, we acknowledge Hashem as having sanctified us. That is, He made us holy and separate from the world, devoted solely to His will. From this perspective, all commandments, all mitzvahs are the same. They're a means of fulfilling Hashem's desire for us, and it is immaterial how this desire expresses itself. But then we go on to finish the bracha, Vetzivanu, and commanded us to do such and such, acknowledging the particular efficaciousness of this specific mitzvah. So by living this paradox, transcending the straitjacketing limitations of this world, that's how we hasten the day when Hashem will release us from all the ontological straitjackets of galus, of exile, and He will give us the final, ultimate redemption with Mashiach Tzidkenu, our righteous Messiah, b'mheira b'yameinu, speedily in our days. In the fifth Aliyah, we are commanded to love the ger, the convert. We are also enjoined to be truthful in business dealings by maintaining honest weights and measures. I know. Here's Shnayim Yomi for today.
Kedoshim Revi'i. This Aliyah starts off, V'chiyager idcha ger be'artechem lo sonu oso. Do not cause any pain to a ger, to a stranger in your land. What's the reason? Ke'ezrach mikem yulachem. Hager ger idchem. It should be a ger, a convert should be just like you. V'haftalo kamocha. And to love him like yourself. Why? Because ger hayisim eretz Mitzrayim. I once heard an unbelievable explanation from a Rebbe of mine, Rav Chatzko Weinfeld. He says, the beginning of the Haggadah, we say, Halach ma'anya de'achalav v'son ba'am Mitzrayim. This is the bread we ate in Egypt. Kodich v'yesav yechel. Whoever wants to come and eat. What's the connection that we ate bread in Egypt and now whoever wants to come and eat? What are the two separate statements? And he said a lot of people, they go through a tzara, they go through bad, hard things in their life. And what happens? Many nations, after they go through a hard time, they say, never again. We're going to make sure we stand up for our rights. But you know what a Jew says? A Jew says, we just went through such a tough time in Mitzrayim. We know what it means to be hungry. You see these organizations after someone passed away, and they say, we know now what it means to go through that hardship. We want to start an organization to help those people. Klal Yisrael is always looking, how can we gain from our experience? Be so careful when it comes to someone else. And the Sfarim say that a ger doesn't just mean a convert. It means someone who's uncomfortable. You walk into shul and you see someone who's new there. He's a ger. In your shul, he's a ger. Go over to him. Go out of your comfort zone. Make people feel comfortable. Losasa avu b'mishpa b'midu b'mishkal. The rest of the Aliyah talks about being honest with your weights. That was how they did their business. A special lav. Don't make weights that are not fair, that you can go ahead and take a little bit more money than you're supposed to. Be so careful when it comes to that. And the mitzvah asay me'oznei tzedek, they have proper weights. To be so careful in our business. Everything we're going to make, every dollar was written down Rosh Hashanah. We're not going to make any more money than we're supposed to make. And if we do, Hashem has to take it away another way, which is usually not so good. Let's be honest in our business and let's make a Kiddush Hashem.
Fantastic goal. All right, I got some special stuff for you today. Here is the Chief Rabbi of England.
What is the hallmark of a Torah scholar? Parshat Kedoshim presents us with the well-known verse, Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, love your fellow as yourself. Rabbi Akiva famously added, Ze klal gadol b'Torah. This is the most important principle of the Torah. Rabbi Akiva wants to highlight for us the centrality of our compassion and our kindness towards others as being an integral part of our relationship with our Creator. The Sefer Dvash HaSadeh gives a beautiful perush on the words of Rabbi Akiva. Ze klal gadol b'Torah, he says, means this is an important principle in the study of Torah. When you are studying Torah, always keep the commandment to love your fellow as yourself. Show consideration to those who are studying in your vicinity. Show your appreciation to those who are enabling you to study. And in addition, share what you have studied with others. Seeing as you have developed and grown in your character as a result of your Torah study, enable others similarly to have their characters developed thanks to the Torah that you will teach them. But most significantly of all, ultimately, being a Torah scholar means that you must be a considerate person. This is of enormous significance to us at this time of the year. During the period of the Omer, we recall how the 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva perished because even though their Torah learning was at a very high level, they didn't show adequate consideration towards their fellows. So therefore, let us always remember the golden rule of the Torah, to love our fellows like ourselves, recognizing the centrality of compassion and consideration, which comes right at the heart of what it means to be a Torah Jew. And at the same time, let's never forget that the hallmark of a Torah scholar is being a mensch. Shabbat Shalom.
All right, and Rabbi Minkowitz.
Welcome to this week's Torah lesson. This week's Torah portion is Parshas Kedoshim. The question of the week is holiness something for everybody? So in this week's Torah portion, Parshas Kedoshim, the Torah begins and it says, Daber al kol hadas b'nei Yisrael, speak to the whole congregation of the Jewish people and tell them, Kedoshim tiyu, you should be holy. So Rabbi asks a simple question. The Torah, Moshe Rabbeinu is always talking to everybody. Why over here does the Torah go out of its way to say, Daber al kol hadas b'nei Yisrael, to speak to the whole Jewish community? So Rabbi explains and he says as follows. What is Hashem telling us? Kedoshim tiyu, you should be holy. What does that mean? It's not referring to a specific mitzvah, but it means that anything that you can do to make yourself holy. So, even something it's okay to do it, but you want to be closer to Hashem, you want to be more godly, more spiritual, so you abstain from doing things. It's not a mitzvah. So one might think, wow, if I did all the 613 commandments, and I'm dedicated and I'm loyal to God, okay, I can take on these beautiful holy ideas. But if not, maybe I first need to, do everything else I'm supposed to. Comes along the Rebbe and tells us that the Torah is teaching us being holy, which means taking upon yourself to refine yourself, to do things which are, you don't necessarily have to just do it anyway, applies to everybody. So the answer to the question, is holiness for everybody? Absolutely. Everyone could be and should be holy. And holy is easy. Just do things that you don't necessarily have to do. Do it because it's the right thing to do, and you'll make the world a better place. You will be considered a holy and great person. Thanks so much for joining us for our weekly Torah lesson. This week's Torah lesson is dedicated to memory of Baruch ben Aryeh Leib, Shlomo ben Yosef, and Rachel Baslipa. May their souls be elevated by the Torah we're studying in the memory. Have a great and blessed week. Thanks so much for joining us. For more information, please see our website, chabad.swf.org. Shavua Tov.
All right. All right, we are doing Tehillim. We are doing chapter 121, the Rebbe's kapitel for this year. Let us say it together.
Shir lamalos, esa enai el heharim, me'ayin, yavo Ezri, Ezri, me'im Adonai, osei, shomayim va'aretz, al yitain lamot raglecha, al yanum shomrecha, hinei lo yanum velo yishan, shomer Yisrael, Adonai shomerecha, Adonai tzilecha, al yad yeminecha, Yomam Hashemesh lo yakeka, v'yareach baloila, Adonai yishmorcha, mikol ra yishmor es nafshecha, Adonai yishmor tzeisecha uvoecha, me'ata ve'ad olam.
All right, Tanya in 5 for today, the third day of Iyar. Here is Rabbi Roni Fine.
Tanya. Thank you for joining Tanya in 5. Today's lesson for the third of Iyar, we continue in chapter 44. Previously, we spoke about desiring God as much as we desire life. Yivisich, I desire you, God, because you are my soul, you're my very life. The next part of this is a higher level, a more intense love than this love of desiring God, because he is my life, because this will be as much as you desire life, that's as much as you will desire to cleave to God with love. But this is beyond that, and it is like a son or a child that loves their parents, their mother and father, more than their own body, more their own soul, more than their own spirit. Who this child is ready to give up his life or her life for one's parent. This is the metaphor for us to understand. And even though this is spoken of in the Zohar in reference to Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, our teacher, who is far beyond us, yet don't we all have one Father? In other words, we all have this capacity that we can sacrifice ourselves beyond ourselves for his sake. Although one might say, how could we be so presumptuous that we could approach such a level? Are we 1,000th that of Moshe Rabbeinu, of Moses, in his love? He is the faithful shepherd after all. Nevertheless, the Alter Rebbe says, a minute portion, a particle of his goodness and his light illuminates the souls of the Jewish people. By way of each generation, that there is an individual who can teach us and bring that love of God and incorporate it in our very experience, in our very soul. And being that there is that emanation in every generation that illuminates our soul, and in the end, that is a part of who I am. In other words, it's a part of the soul makeup that I have, that God is my Father. And even though it's concealed within me, nonetheless, it could be brought out, this hidden love from its concealment to a state of revelation, to be manifest in the heart and the mind of individual. In other words, it's not beyond our reach. It is very close to us. Kikara veilecha. It is very close to us, both in our mouth and in our hearts, that we could have some kind of sense, some kind of feeling towards us. That is to say, how could we do this? Is only by habituating ourselves with our tongue to arouse the intention of the heart and the mind, as to immerse in the thought of the thought of and speaking in a way that God is our Father. He is our source of life. And this should awaken in us this love for Him, just like a son loves his father, just as a child loves his parent. And when we speak this way, to arouse that within us, that sentiment, then eventually we will accustom ourselves by continuously doing this, that it will become our nature. It'll become a part of us and not something separate from us, even though seemingly this is a great quality that we are ready to sacrifice our lives as a child is for their parents, because their parents are more dear than their own very life, a very lofty level. This is distinctive then from the previous class, which speaking about desiring God just as we desire life. And since God is my life, but as much as I desire life, that's how much I desire God. Here, this is even beyond that. This is beyond my life that I desire, because I'm ready to give up my life, to sacrifice my life for my parents. So likewise, for God, we are ready to love Him with such a great devotion, with such a great sacrifice. And that's this chapter, in one word, is visich, I desire, but that was the previous notion, and this part would be kibra, like a son or a child that desires to sacrifice their lives for the sake of their greater love for their parents. And that is Tanya in 5. Thank you for joining.
All right. Sefer HaMitzvahs of the
No, it's not impossible that Rebbe did say, just study Rambam each and every day. I'll never miss.
All right, we are doing Mitzvah Minute number 3.
I'm not busy or too tired when I learn Rambam's connected. I remain, I am a link in the Rebbe's golden chain.
Latif. All right. Hi, for that to comment. All right, YouTube's giving me some problems today. I don't know what's going on over here. I'll have to figure it out. Very, very strange. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll deal with that later. Okay. Mashiach matters. The Rebbe Marash once asked his father, the Tzemach Tzedek, about the prediction that Mashiach was supposed to come in the year 5608. The Tzemach Tzedek, the third Lubavitcher Rebbe, answered, the coming of Mashiach is a revelation of the soul's essence. And that year, the book Likutei Torah, collected Torah from the Rebbe, was printed, and it revealed the essence of Torah through which the essence of the soul is revealed. The Rebbe Marash said, but we need Mashiach to come literally. Although there are spiritual aspects to the redemption, and many are available, we shouldn't be satisfied. We have to demand Mashiach in the literal sense. How are we doing on time here? Where's my clock? All right, I think we have time for Shmuel 3. Let me get it up over here so that we have it. because I might not have access to it. All right, here.
Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Hope all is well. Happy new month. We're on the holy month. Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Today we're celebrating the birthday of the Rebbe Maharash, the fourth Rebbe of Chabad. Today is a very special day. It is an opportune time to connect to the one above. We have to realize that Hashem is king. Hashem is not just allowing things around us to happen. Whenever we find ourselves in a situation, we can't just say, look, Hashem's allowing us to happen. Rather, we have to say, Hashem is causing this to happen, and there's a needed reason, an infinite importance to whatever we're going through. The fact that Hashem is putting us through this means that it has to happen, and we have to actualize our purpose of creation and figure out whatever is needed of us in this situation. What does this mean? We all have certain challenges we go through. The fact that we're alive means that we might have difficulties or challenges. We have to remember what the Rebbe says to us. Something unbelievable, something that is life-changing. What does the Rebbe say? He says, some people see difficulties as difficulties. Some people see difficulties as difficulties. Other people who are on a higher level see difficulties as challenges. It's a challenge. You can get through it. It's a challenge. The Rebbe says, I say we have to see them as opportunities. Whatever is coming towards me is an opportunity to bring the Creator into our situation. Those difficult moments where we feel pressure, we feel intensity, that is a opportunity to bring Hashem's light into the darkest possible situation. It's not that, we have when things are easy and things are good, great, we're serving Hashem. When things are hard, it's a fall. God forbid, it's the opposite. Things are good when they're good, but when they're hard, that is the greatest of opportunities to bring Hashem into our life, because Hashem put us in here to work. Says, for Adam Rishon, Hashem created him to toil, to work the ground. We have to work Hashem in our service, and when we do that, we turn the darkest dark into light. And we know that the darkest dark is what becomes the brightest of lights. That is the whole purpose of why Hashem sent our soul down here into this world. Why? Because we were very comfortable before we were born, but before we were born, we were just experiencing Hashem. We didn't experience a hiddenness of Hashem. Everything was just there. However, when we come down into this world, it seems like Hashem is hidden. But that hiddenness allows for the revelation of God to be so much deeper. It's like, for example, when you haven't seen a friend of yours for a long time, and then you see them after many years, that reunification is much greater than had you have been with them the entire time. It's also like this analogy of two soulmates coming together. The soulmates are really one neshama, one soul. And as they come down into this world, it gets split into two parts that then come together again for the reunification. If a husband and wife were just born always married, it wouldn't be nearly the same intensity, same power, the same opportunity as if they lived their separate lives and then came together for that reunification. It's so much greater. And that, and how much more so with us and Hashem, that the fact that sometimes it seems like Hashem's hidden, if we bring Hashem into that situation and we allow Him to come into our lives, it'll be the greatest experience possible. And as great as this all sounds, it still seems hard. What do? This is where we come to the great advice of the Rebbe Maharash, whose name is Rebbe Shmuel, the seventh son of the Tzemach Tzedek. And he is, this counsel, this advice that he gives is really, it's the Rebbe that became very, emphasized this point and repeats it on even more occasions. This is the advice called the Lechatchila Riber. What does this mean? It means the Rebbe Maharash says, some people, when a challenge comes to them, some people go to the left, some people go to the right, some people go under. What does the Rebbe Maharash say? I say, Lechatchila Riber, from the get-go, you should come from the start. You should go over, you should go from the top. What does this mean? This means that we're already above our situation no matter what. Hashem, whatever situation Hashem puts us in, we're above it. We just have to realize, we just have to continue. We have to realize that Hashem is the one putting us in this situation, and surely He's giving us more than enough strength to use it as an opportunity to bring in the light. And this will be actualized and revealed in the days of Mashiach, which is in our generation, can happen at any moment. May Hashem bless you all. Please support the Torah channel. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. You can donate to the Torah channel in the link below. You can partner. May Hashem bless you all. Be well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Shmuel Tzvi. I really appreciate it. All right. And now our PSAs.
Hi, I'm Naftali Engel from the Rebbe's Choice Herring, Lox, and Kichel, and here I have our flatbread kichel inspired by Rav Shaila of Karastir. And Rav Shaila of Karastir was known for his tremendous outreach and feeding the hungry, just like Maspia Soup Kitchens, and that inspired us to include a QR code and a link to donate to Maspia Soup Kitchens on all of our kichel products to follow in the footsteps of Rav Shaila's legacy of feeding the hungry, just like Maspia does. Please support Maspia and their amazing work to feed all those in need.
All right, must be a soup kitchen and food pantry available by texting the word food to 726-879. 726-879, and you can get 7 days worth of pantry food and hot meals every single day. In Rockland County, it is tomcheishabbos.org, tomcheishabbos.org, a great organization. And in Chicago, it's the Chicago Center Kitchen at breakfastwithelli.live/Chicago Food Bank. Achiezer.org is available for everything else that you need. Make sure you go to their website, achiezer.org, or 516-791-4444. And they are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. No matter what it is you need, Achiezer is there. Also there for you 24/7 is Hatzalah EMS, the only EMS service worldwide that will take care of you 24 hours a day, 365 days a year with no charge at all. At any of these numbers, 212-718-230-1000, 230-1000, and both the 212 and 718 area codes, or at any of these numbers, or at Hatzalah.org worldwide. If you don't have Hatzalah in your community yet, let's get one started. If you are, God forbid, the victim of a hate crime or see a hate crime in progress, please call 911 immediately. If you live in New York, then you can text the word hate to 81336 when the whole thing is over. Now, you need to call 911 even if it's Shabbos, even if it's Yom Tov, because they need to stop this, and they're the ones that can help you, and it's a big mitzvah to do so. All right. In times of bereavement, call on Miss Askim, MISASKIM, missaskim.org, or call their 24-hour emergency hotline at 718-854-4548. And go to breakfastwithelli.live/Shabbos and contribute whatever it is you can to help bring a teenager back to keeping Shabbos. And as we said earlier,
Mask, wear a
the
mask.
CDC and the FDA are both recommending that you wear a mask still, especially on public transportation, even though the court ruling overturned the national mask mandate. We are still in the throes of a pandemic. New York has raised their level to medium, as you can see by the graphic over here. And other states, California has just had a 30% increase, in cases. So it's not over yet, okay? So please, please, please be careful. We didn't come this far to get sick now, all right? Make sure you get your vaccines. That will also help mitigate this problem. I am double boosted, and I hope that you are too, okay? All right. Here's our kindness a day for today, Wednesday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. The 3rd of Iyar. Attend a Yom HaZikaron, an Israeli memorial program, and take a moment to remember Israeli soldiers who lost their lives protecting Israel from harm. Okay? I think that's a really great idea. It's a big day in Israel. The whole world stops there. All right. Big Chabad for Wednesday. It was in the merit of the righteous women of the generation that the Jews were redeemed from Egypt. Similarly, the redemption of our current exile will be in the merit of Nashim Tzidkonios of this generation. The Rebbe was very, very, very big on that. He talked about that a lot. So it has a lot of merit, and I'm sure you can understand that. All right? All right, bring heaven down to earth. Every moment has two faces. In a moment defined by the past from which it extends and by the future to which it leads. And it's a moment for itself, with its own meaning, its own purpose, its own life. People want to run away from where they are to go find their Yerushalayim, their Jerusalem, as if elsewhere they'll find perfection. But wherever you are, whatever you're doing there, Machda Yerushalayim, make that your Jerusalem. The Rebbe told people that all the time. The Rebbe told yours truly that. Once upon a time, I wanted to go learn in yeshiva in Israel very badly when I was younger. And the Rebbe's answer to me, Machda Eretz Yisrael, make this Israel. In other words, come to me on social media. We can discuss that. Any of the Actors Rabbis group at WhatsApp, Twitter, Spaces, Telegram, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, LinkedIn, Racket, Clubhouse, or at theactorsrabbi.com. And if you need, you can go to theactorsrabbi.com and get life coaching services. Sign up for them there. They're available to you on a sliding scale. All right. Got lots of listeners on the audio platforms today. That's really cool. All right, let's make an after bracha. Baruch ato Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam boirei nefashos rabois v'chesronan al kol ma sheborasa lachayos bohem nefesh kol chai baruch chai ha'olamim. All right, thank you for being here. Thank you to my Patreon sponsors, Pest Pro Riddle, Tarzane Orchids, Dina D Design, Sarah Elli Sheva Ashira, Dr. Susan Spitzer, Bracha Biederman. Thank you very much for being part of my Patreon group. Go to patreon.com/theactorsrabbi if you'd like to become a supporter, or go to our virtual tip jar at breakfastwithelli.live/tip jar and thank us for what we do here. Help defray our expenses over here. All right, it is Wednesday. It is Hump Day. You know what that means. Go out and do something nice and something good for someone today. It is the yahrzeit of Reb Shaila of Kerestir. Do something in his memory today. One of the big things of Reb Shaila was feeding the needy, feeding the homeless, feeding the poor. He did so much for so many people, gave so many blessings. So if you'd like, go to masbia.org and you can donate in honor of the yahrzeit of Reb Shaila of Kerestir. Give whatever you can. Give 50 cents, give $1, $10, $18. We talked about Reb Shaila of Kerestir. Here, I have his picture up on my wall. My connection to the Kerestir Rebbe and the dynasty we talked about earlier. All right, in the words of Rabbi Isaac Hamler, have affection for a fellow. Hashem will have affection for you. Do a kindness for a fellow. Hashem will do a kindness for you. Befriend a fellow. Hashem will befriend you. Here's Ari Goldwag with It's Gishmak Tzazana Yid. It's good to be a Jew. You're going to enjoy this. It's a beautiful a cappella video. He worked really, really hard on this. And we have a lot of those. A lot of people are taking their videos and making them a cappella so that you can listen to them during the days of Sphira. All right? All right, I'm here all day. If you need to get a hold of me, go to any of the medium that I'm on and say hi. Have a great day. I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Cinco de Drinko. We're going to talk about that too. All right? Have a wonderful day. May the 4th be with you. Here's Ari Goldwag, and I will see you tomorrow. Bring someone to listen with you. That's a big mitzvah. Bye. Just give me a second. All right, here.
It's Geschmack to be a Yid, it's Geschmack to be a Yid. It's Geschmack to be a Yid, it's Geschmack to be a Yid. אנחנו לפניך השם אלוקינו ואלוקי אבותינו ששמת חלקנו מיושבי בית המדרש ולא שמת חלקנו מיושבי קרנוס אנחנו לפניך השם אלוקינו ואלוקי אבותינו ששמת חלקנו מיושבי בית המדרש ולא שמת חלקנו מיושבי קרנוס שינו משכימים אנו משכימים לדברי תורה שאנו רוצים והם רוצים אנו רוצים לחייל המבוא תורה תורה אלי תורה תורה אלי תורה 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 אז תשמע תורה תורה אלי תורה It's Geschmack to be a Yid, 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 it's Geschmack to be a Yid. It's so sweet to be a Jew, there's a flavor just for you. Taste the joy of our holy Torah. It's so sweet to be a Jew, there's a flavor just for you. Taste the joy of our holy Torah. It's Geschmack to be a Yid. שאנו משכימים והם משכימים אנו משכימים לדברי תורה שאנו רוצים והם רוצים אנו רוצים לחייל המבוא תורה תורה אלי תורה תורה אלי תורה 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 אז תשמע תורה תורה אלי תורה Torah, Torah, Heilige Torah, Torah, Heilige Torah, 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 Heilige Torah. Taste the joy of our holy Torah. It's Geschmack to be a Yid, it's Geschmack to be a Yid, it's Geschmack. It's Geschmack to be a Yid, it's Geschmack to be